You know, some stories from the deep sea, they just sound like pure fiction, right? Tales of krakens and giant sea monsters dragging ships down to a watery grave. But what if one of those stories, one of the most terrifying monster myths of all, was actually true? Today, we are diving deep into the documented, historical account of a giant squid that went up against a 200-ton ship and won.
All right, let's set the scene. We're going back in time. The year is 1874. We're in a world of steam power, clanging steel, and massive sailing ships.
And the centerpiece of our story is a serious piece of work. We're talking about a 200-ton whaling brig. This isn't some tiny little boat. This is a formidable vessel built by humans to take on the ocean and win.
And its opponent? Well, its opponent is something else entirely. Something ancient. Something that came up from the crushing, black, silent abyss.
So you've got this classic matchup, right? Man versus nature. Our technology versus its raw biology. Who do you think came out on top? Well, let me tell you, the answer is way stranger than any old sailor story.
Okay, Section 1, Attack in the Fog. Let's be clear, this wasn't some mission to hunt a monster. This started as just another day at work for these sailors, a routine hunt that was about to turn into an absolute nightmare. So here's the situation. The ship is the Perseverance, a whaler out of Newfoundland, with a crew of 12. They're out in the North Atlantic looking for sperm whales. But here's the kicker. Visibility is practically zero. They are wrapped in this thick, heavy, disorienting fog. I mean, it's the perfect setting for the unknown to just emerge. And then, it just happens. Absolute chaos. It starts with just one massive tentacle slapping onto the ship's rail. Before the crew can even figure out what they're looking at, more arms erupt from the sea, wrapping around the masts, the rigging, the whole deck. Then they hear it, the sound of splintering wood, as this giant parrot-like beak starts tearing the hull apart. The men, they fight back. They grab axes, but it's like trying to chop down a building. And then the unbelievable happens. The creature just starts pulling the 200-ton ship down under the waves.
The eyewitness accounts from the survivors, man, they give you a chilling sense of scale. They describe the creature's arms as being thicker than a man's torso. Just try to picture that for a second. This wasn't just a big animal, this was a monster. Something totally outside of anything they'd ever conceived of.
The attack was brutally fast and efficient. The ship was doomed from the start. But for a few of the crew, the horror was just getting started. This brings us to Section 2, the survivor's ordeal.
And this chart, wow, it just lays out the devastating human cost. Out of a crew of 12 men, 9 were lost, gone, pulled under with the ship or dragged into the sea. Only 3 men managed to escape the sinking vessel.
And survival was not a sure thing. These 3 guys, including the ship's first mate, were adrift for days in a tiny, open boat in the middle of the unforgiving North Atlantic. It was nothing short of a miracle that a passing ship spotted them and brought their insane story back to shore.
So can you imagine these traumatized men finally making it back to port? How do you think people reacted to their story? That brings us to Section 3, A Sailor's Tale. Was this a real documented event or just another piece of maritime fiction?
I mean, you have to try and put yourself in their shoes. The survivor said the squid was larger than any whale we had ever seen, with arms as thick as a barrel. To anyone listening to this on dry land, it must have sounded like something ripped from a fantasy novel, not a real report.
And you can see this huge split in how the whole account was treated. On the one hand, a lot of the public just dismissed it. Oh, sailors and their tall tales, right? But on the other hand, in official channels, it was taken very seriously. This was eyewitness testimony from multiple survivors, and it was documented as an official report in Lloyd's list, which was and still is the authority for maritime news.
So which was it? A wild piece of fiction or a documented fact? Well, this is where the story gets really interesting. Section 4, the verdict from science and the corroboration of the impossible.
What's so wild is that the attack on the Perseverance didn't just happen in a vacuum. Check out this timeline. Just 1 year before, in 1873, a huge giant squid with a 55-foot tentacle washed ashore in the exact same area, Newfoundland. This was physical proof. Then you jump forward to 1998, and a respected maritime historian, Richard Ellis, he goes back, re-examines all the records, and concludes that the sailor's story was completely credible.
So just how big are we talking here? Well, science gives us a hard number. The maximum confirmed length of a female giant squid, that's Archaeothetus dux, is 43 feet. 43 feet. That is longer than a city bus. All of a sudden, the sailor's story doesn't sound quite so crazy anymore, does it?
And this animal is perfectly built for this kind of destruction. Its main weapon is this incredibly powerful, sharp beak, kind of like a giant parrot's, and it's strong enough to shear right through flesh and even wood. So while an attack like this is super rare, the biological tools for a total catastrophe are very real. A 19th century wooden hull would have stood almost no chance.
So why does this story, almost 150 years later, still captivate us? Why does it still give us the chills? That brings us to our final section, the terror of the deep, and a fear that just doesn't go away.
I think here's why it matters. You had a 200-ton ship, a symbol of human power, of our technology, of our dominion over the natural world. And it was just defeated, overpowered by a single animal from the abyss. It's this incredibly humbling and kind of frightening reminder that no matter how advanced we think we are, nature holds a power that can overwhelm us in a heartbeat.
So let's circle all the way back to that first question. Who won? There is zero ambiguity here. The squid won, period. The Perseverance was pulled to the bottom of the Atlantic. The creature returned to its world, and only 3 men lived to bear witness.
And you know, the wreck of the Perseverance has never been found. It's just gone. It's lying somewhere in that crushing darkness, its location a complete mystery. Which makes the final line from one of the analyses of this whole event just so perfect and so haunting. And the ocean kept it secret.
It's a truly chilling end to a true story. And it really just leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? If this is one secret the ocean gave up almost by accident, what other secrets does it still keep today?